Hello everyone, welcome to another vegan Mundi cooking class. My name is Felipe and today we'll learn how to make a vegan quiche. We'll learn how to make the crust and we'll learn how to make the filling. The base for the crust is almond flour and we'll use a mix of water and flax seeds for mimicking egg for binding the crust. And the base for the filling is tofu with a little bit of almond milk so it'll get creamy. So let's just start by making the crust. The first thing that we need to do is to make our flax egg. We just need to combine the water with the ground flax seeds. We mix a bit and then we will let it rest for 5 minutes. It will become a little gelatin, not a real gelatin, but a little bit like with a gelatin consistency, and then we can use it as if it was an egg for baking. We will now mix all the ingredients in the blender. We will start with the dry ingredients, the almond flour, the salt, just pulse a little bit, just to mix it. And now what we'll do, we will slowly pour the olive oil and the flax seeds, eggs, and we'll be pulsing little by little. So let's start with the olive oil. Now the egg, and now the water. Believe it or not, the crust is ready. Now we will transfer it to a tray. So this is the consistency that you want for the crust. And if by any chance, while you're pulsing your dough, you cannot get to this consistency because you see that there is a lot of flour on the top, it doesn't really mix, you simply open the lid, and while you're pulsing you, with a spoon or a spatula, you just keep mixing it, and then you pulse it, and then you mix again until you get to this consistency. What I like doing before transferring the crust to the container, I spray with a little bit of oil to make it easier to remove it after it's ready. And then with your hand, you will press the dough and shape it all the way on the bottom and on the sides. So we are ready to bake the crust, but before you put it in the oven, I just wanted to discuss one thing with you. If you did it together with me, you notice that it can get a little bit annoying spreading it in the tray with your hands. It can get really sticky. So there are a few hacks here. One, instead of using your hands, you can use the spatula like this. It won't stick that much. And something that will make it really easy for you, something that I don't like to do, but if you want to do it, you can use half of the amount of almond flour and half of the amount of regular flour, the all-purpose flour. I don't like it because I avoid all-purpose flour as much as I can, but if you don't mind, do it. It will be way easier. And while we wait for the crust to be ready, we'll saute our mushrooms in garlic and sesame oil. this is my little secret. Whenever I want to saute mushrooms, I use sesame oil for two reasons. One, because sesame oil matches really well with mushrooms. It enhances the mushroom flavor. And second, because sesame oil has a very high heat tolerance, meaning that it's healthier than most of the oils. What I mean by that? There are several oils that they are healthy, but once you heat them, they are not healthy anymore. That's the case of extra virgin olive oil, for example. It's super healthy, but once you heat it, it's not that healthy anymore. And the reason for that is because the heat changes the configuration, or I mean the structure of the oil molecule, and then it's not that healthy anymore. But with sesame oil, you don't have this risk. I'm adding some salt, some freshly ground black pepper, and my tip to you is to use shiitake mushrooms, which I'm not doing here, but you should try with shiitake mushrooms if you have a chance. We'll bring your quiche to the next level. I'm using baby bella mushrooms here, which is also good. Once the mushrooms are ready, you add the spinach leaves. You will cook them until they whip, and then we are done with the mushrooms and spinach. So we sauteed the mushrooms, we baked the crust, and it's now finally time for us to make the filling. So before we start, I want to talk a little bit about two ingredients: the tofu and my beloved nutritional yeast. The tofu, most of the recipes, when you want to cook with tofu, you need to press it for a while, put something heavy on top of it for it to release the water, because tofu has a lot of water, and in most of the recipes, if you don't drain it like that, the recipe will become saggy. But in this specific case, we want our quiche to be creamy, so we want this water. So I just removed the water that comes around it in the package, but I didn't really press it, okay? That's the first thing. And nutritional yeast, if you already know what it is, you can skip like 15-30 seconds. But if you don't know what it is, it's a yeast. It's like a flakes. It comes with flakes. You can also buy it in powder, but flake is the most common one. And it's an ingredient that vegan people use to substitute cheese flavor, but it also has other properties. It has a lot of protein, and you can buy nutritional yeast fortified with vitamin B12, which is something that is very hard for vegans to acquire in nature because there are not too many natural sources of vitamin B12. So this is a good call. And it also has a property of softening specific foods. When you make seitan or even with tofu, it kind of softens the ingredient a little bit. So that's why we are using nutritional yeast. So let's now make it. We will add all the ingredients here. Tofu, you see that it's a little bit wet, and that's exactly how you want it to be. I'm adding the nutritional yeast, garlic, onion powder, turmeric for color and also very nutritive, olive oil, salt to taste. You can always adjust if you don't think it's enough, and the almond milk, a little bit of it to make it creamy. We will close it. You don't want to over process it because you just want to process it. Then you mix the ingredients. Now you will add the mushroom and the spinach. Put it up. So the filling of the quiche is ready. We'll pour it into the container where we put the crust, and then we will top it with cherry tomatoes, and then we'll bake it again. And this is the consistency that you want for your quiche. You might be wondering if this will ever turn into a real quiche, and don't worry, trust me, it will. You came all the way here, don't give up now, okay? It will pay off in the end. It is a very, very yummy quiche. And to finish it, you press the cherry tomatoes cut in half on top of it, and you have your beautiful quiche ready to be cooked again for 35 more minutes at 350 degrees. So the last thing that I need to tell you is that once you bake the quiche, it might look a little bit too soft and you might think that it didn't work, but you just let it rest for 10 minutes and then it will harden. And then you can enjoy it.